Kia ora, welcome back to Hunter's Help. On this episode, we are going to be looking at student loans. So we're on to the fun stuff, money, money, money. So we're going to be looking at everything you need to know about student loans, should you get them, and how to get them. So what is a student loan? So you've got three different categories that you're looking at. So one is the compulsory fees. So this is the course fee for your degree. So currently in New Zealand, you're looking at around $10,000 each year on average for a bachelor's degree. So number two is course-related costs. So this is $1,000 to help with course-related costs. So this can be anything. So for example, you might use it on petrol to get to class. You might use it on a new laptop. You might use it on a chair or on some stationery. There's just, anything you need to get you started in study. I did say textbooks, and they can be really expensive. You might think it's crazy to spend $1,000 on textbooks, but trust me, they can be really expensive. Try your best to get them secondhand, or maybe even read them online, because it will save you a lot of money. And then living costs is money that's put into your bank account each week. So this is $323.43 a week for living costs. And now that's a really important number to take note of when we go through the Hunter's Help video on halls, because you will notice there is a big discrepancy between the amount you get given and the amount they charge. So just something to keep in mind. But those are your three options. Now, they are all interest-free, so you pay them back like you would tax out of your paycheck. It comes out automatically. All right, so the big question, should I get one? Now, again, it is completely up to personal preference. The majority of students in New Zealand will need a student loan. University is expensive, as I said before, $10,000 for course fees. Not a lot of us have that lying around. You're also working around 40 hours a week studying, so you might be able to have a part-time job, but you're probably not working full-time. So it is a must for a lot of people, and we are really fortunate that it's interest-free. Again, comes out of your paycheck, and eventually you'll stop paying it off. It's just the reality in New Zealand. You probably will need one unless you are in a lucky position. The other thing to consider as well is that the student loan application process is the most painful thing you will ever experience. They like to make it very, very, very difficult to get a student loan. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because if you go to university and you think, I don't think I'll need one, and then you find halfway through a semester, actually, I'm struggling a little bit financially, I think it would be really good. It will then take you, 2 months to apply. So the best thing to do, if you're even considering it, is apply, have the application sitting there. For example, with the living loan costs, so you don't have to do the course fees and the living costs. So you might just get your course fees covered or just get the living costs. And you can also pick how much of the living costs you want. So for example, you might go, look, I do need to borrow some money, but I can't trust myself to be smart with $323 a week. I'll borrow $200, and then you can change that amount whenever you want. The main thing is that you have an account with StudyLink. So when to apply for a student loan? So you can apply for a student loan before you know where or what you are studying. The deadline is around mid-December each year, but the second you decide that study is your future as soon as you decide that study is your future path, please start applying. As I said before, it is an absolute mission to apply for a student loan. And I work at the enrollment centre at a university, and even people who applied in mid-December, they had a huge backlog in 2025. And that meant a lot of people weren't getting those payments when they were due, just because they hadn't applied early enough in the year. So if you're thinking, I think I'm going to go study, please submit an application. And we're going to go through how to do that now. All right, so how do you apply? So step 1, create a RealMe account. So you need to go onto the RealMe website. You need to have a verified copy version of either your passport, immigration details, or New Zealand birth certificate. So a verified photocopy, you get the document, you photocopy it, and then you take it to either a JP, Justice of Peace, you can Google where they are, or you can take it to your school principal and they can verify it. They essentially sign the piece of paper and go, yep, that is the real copy of the document. Then you provide that document with a photo, so for example, a driver's license or Kiwi Access card. One thing to remember, if you're going to provide a driver's license, you're going to get that scanned. That's great. Make sure you get both sides. It's only valid if you get the front and the back of the license. Now, once you've got a RealMe account, which it can take a little bit of time, you then complete step 2, your eligibility test. So this can be done on the StudyLink website, and for this you need your main details as well as your parents' income. And finally, your application will begin. So you then, after all of that process, you finally make it to StudyLink's website. So you need a verified copy of your birth certificate or passport again. You need proof of your bank account, so a bank statement, deposit slip, screenshot of online banking, anything like that. And then you must show the bank logo and your full account number and account name. Then you'll need your personal details such as your IRD number, and the dates of study can be an estimate to start with. Just make sure you change that before you go. And then what happens is StudyLink's going to send you a letter in the mail. As you know, with post at the moment, it might take a while to get there. You fill out the application form, you mail it back, it takes even longer. Then they process it, and then you complete the online application. It is quite tedious. Once you've got an application, from then on and like the future years of study, super easy. But that initial application is really time consuming. And the other thing I just want to mention in this section is that student allowance is different from a student loan. So there is a certain income threshold that they have, and if your parents earn under that amount, you can get a student allowance. Now, this will happen when you are doing your eligibility test. They will let you know if you're eligible for this, which is why you need your parents' income. If you are eligible, a student allowance is gold. It is free money you never ever pay back. So if you qualify for a student allowance, really important that you get onto that and make sure you get that application sorted, as well as those of you getting their student loans, make sure you get onto it as soon as possible. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Hunter's Help video.